Okay, it looks like we are live from Arlington, Vermont. I am Edward Cady from Happy Valley Hobbies, and these are hobbies that make me happy. So we are, let's see. All right, let's see. Live StreamYard says 2. Regular YouTube says none, or just 1, myself. All right, now pop out the chat. That's what I want to do. Pop it out so it's a little bit larger. Oh, hello, Harry the Rail fan. So you must be the second one that came on here. Thank you for coming in. I have 3 screens here, so I'm sort of bounced between the 3 of them. So that's why I'm not directly looking at this. You have changed your name. Who were you originally? Your icon does look vaguely familiar. I almost want to say since your icon is very Southern Railway Pacific, I would assume it would have to be something along those lines. Unless you change the icon and then all bets are off. But had to run out to the local convenience store to grab something, so that's why I'm a minute late. But hey, better a minute late than forgetting a whole day. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. Didn't really plan anything today, so what I wanted to do, or what my original plan was, I have oh yeah, I would never would have guessed that, Harry. The Hot Wheels collector. Yeah, I would. With your icon and all that, I would not have gotten that. But so you go from Hot Wheels to rail fanning. Okay then. I was gonna say I had some when I was younger. I did have some Matchbox locomotives and all that, or Hot Wheels locomotives, and then realized no, they were Matchbox. So, because I think Matchbox had at least 2 locomotives that I'm aware of. With the let's see, one also had a flat car, 2-wheel flat car. I think that's all I had for the small little stuff like that. Because most of my model train stuff was either HO or it was one of those get out once a year Lionel train sets, which I still have. The Lionel stuff. But if I remember correctly, I believe if I remember correctly, the thing is I have 027, so I have the stuff that has the sharp turns, and I think even 027 is still I want to say still has a wider radius than HO scale, if I'm remembering correctly. It's not off by much, but it's still enough to do the. It's more appropriate to do the 027 stuff with or to do the HO scale stuff because the radius is a little bit smaller. Well, let's see. It was 18. Twice the 18 is 30. Blanking on 36. Yeah, 30. That would be 36. 27. Yeah, 27 is has a narrower radius, but everything is still twice the size. So that's why, with all the buildings and stuff like that, that's why I still go with HO scale. It is one of those things of maybe turning around and maybe for Christmas special, bring out the bring out the 027, but I don't really have that much room here. I mean, the whole apartment's 20 by 20, and then that includes the kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom. So the living room does not, I haven't measured it. Let's see. If I was to measure, it'd be maybe 12 by 12. Possible. 12 by, yeah, I would lean maybe around 12 by 12 as an estimate. Beyond that, well, it is what it is. So let us switch over to the correct camera. Let's see. The bottom one. Yes. And the thing is, this camera is set up. The name of it is Live Camera. The problem is I have another camera that is also labeled Live Camera, and I'm not able to figure out how to turn around and make it so I can rename them. So then I can actually say, okay, this one's bench work. This one is the second one. Eventually, I think is going to go to the lathe, mount over on top of the lathe. But I haven't figured out exactly a good spot to put that particular camera. I have some ideas, but haven't really set it up yet. Okay, now to switch over to the other camera and have everything bounce around a little bit because of the way the camera is attached. But last week I was working on Jordan Products standard delivery wagon. I have gone for the 2-horse configuration. There is a this right here is, I don't know the name of it, but this is for a single horse, which apparently with a single horse, it was like, according to the instructions, it was hinged here. So when they took off the horse, this whole section would fall, go down to the ground and stay there. But apparently with the 2-horse configuration, it actually stayed up. So you could actually have with or without the horses, depending on how it is. But eventually, well, the thing is, they gave me they gave us 3 horses. So there was 3 horses involved. Thinking about maybe have that one on a field, but since these 2 are upright, these are actually slightly different size. Which, okay. It's one of those things that'll get rid of the parting lines and all that. But, yeah, it looks like one's larger than the other. So we'll have one as the older horse and the other one as a foal. So, all right, we'll go that direction. One of the things that I did not like about this, which if I do another one of these, I'll hopefully remember it, is this is how the springs are set up on the sprue. And the thing is, you got to turn around and take this portion of it and this portion of it and turn it at 90 degrees so they look more like that. The only problem with this is that they constantly want to spring back and they want to go back into being straight. So it was definitely a challenge to turn around and make these. In fact, if you look at these real close, they're still not at 90 degrees. They're close, but they're still not. So if I put this on the layout, it's going to be sort of towards the background and all that. This is not going to be something towards the front. But if I do another one of these, I'll just hopefully remember to actually turn around and actually snip the springs apart, re-glue them back into 90 degrees, and then they'll be at 90 degrees, not trying to reformat back to being straight. But that's the second cart I've done so far. Plus, I also got a couple other mess ups on this, but that's one of those things you learn as you go along. And there's times that you just sort of gotta make compromises as you are learning as you're going. All right, now these are more sprues. These are decals for the for the wagon. Haven't figured out exactly what to put in there for yet. All right, since those were done, I haven't figured out what's the next project to do. So yeah, when thinking about doing live streams and all that, usually the smart thing to do is making sure you have a whole bunch of projects. So if something falls away, you're not able to do something, you have a backup plan. I completely forgot a backup plan, but I am in the process of thinking up one now. One thing I haven't done yet with I think these are the last 4 things for the wagon. Right now, I'm not in the mood for small parts. I have a slight headache, so I'm not going to be doing the really small stuff at this point. All right. Yeah, the thing is that there is a window for the wagon, and the window is pretty small. I want to say the window is about the cross section of this log, and here they give you a massively large piece of the window, which I'm actually thinking about doing, setting it up more for using Mod Podge or some other clear glue to do that, mainly because of the instructions are not the best. It's one of those things that sometimes you forget that when you're doing instructions, that sometimes they don't have them proofread, making sure that people can actually do what the kid's supposed to do. Therefore, you wind up going, okay, all right, that's part of that. But the thing is, some kits have very great instructions, and then there's some kits that have very horrible instructions. And it's one of those things of with that style of with that style of instructions, it winds up almost being a in some cases more of a here's a bunch of parts, build something and then go for it. All right, let's see if this has been flattened out enough so we can do this, or redo this, I should say. All right, do I have room? Do I have room? Nope, yeah. Send it away. Now I have room. All right, now is this relatively straight now? Yes, it's relatively straight. Yay. All right, so we are back to this. As you can see, this is the original part here. And as you can see, I have gotten a lot of the more plaster on here. But eventually this is probably going to be pretty much almost repainted. But we shall press on. All right. So from here, let's see. This is the bridge that was on here. But which direction was it? Does not look like it might have been that way. Let's go try it this way. Okay, this looks like how it was originally. If I can see where parts used to be at. So, all right. So we'll go from here and put in some new road bed. Since the original road bed only went to here and here, we need to go farther. So we need new road bed. So we'll go from here to here. Sort of glue that down, and then from here, or at least we'll get this close. All right. So Harry, what made you decide to go from Hot Wheels? You know, what caused the change in the name? Sort of kind of curious. Now, I myself am not planning on changing the handle, but I am sort of contemplating changing what I'm covering. Mainly because of, I've been doing this for over a year and a half now and barely got just over 100 subscribers, which I'm very surprised at and very humbled about. But at the same time, I just came across a channel that does weird automobiles. And apparently they've been doing this for, I guess, about 7 months or something like that. They're already at 15,000. So it's like, okay, I guess, model trains is not as a well-liked or interesting subject. I remember hearing Kathy Millett, who is a very well-known YouTuber that does model trains, that she actually she found out that she's doing more generic scenery stuff now, because it seems that even if she adds a model, even track or something to a, I'm not sure. Actually, hold on a second. Let me move the mic so it's pointed at me, and hopefully the sawing is not going over my voice. Yeah, it seems that if she puts something that has model railroad subject to it, it doesn't get the same amount of views as something that that's just generic scenery. But at the same time, I'm not interested in doing something that's just generic scenery. And the thing is, I've also added the reason why I picked Happy Valley Hobbies instead of Happy Valley Railroad is that I have more than one hobby. And I do have a bunch of hobbies that are model train adjacent. One is, like electronics. Everything. There's a lot of electronics involved in model trains. So it's one of those things I'm thinking of maybe transitioning that direction. I also recently bought a lathe because I want to do broad gauge, and there's nothing really commercial with broad gauge stuff. All right, this is almost through. There it is. Ta-da. Flip it so it's that direction. Let's flip. So this is this direction, and we'll add everything together. First, what I might have to do is slightly start actually, so we have according to YouTube, we're up to 4. Yeah, usually I don't see the normal crew on here, like Mystic, Wigwag, and Mystic and Wigwag are the ones that first come up, and I'm blanking out on everybody else. Yeah, I'm a real good host. I know Anthony Dodge. He spends time with his family at this time, so that's why he's not around. Rail artist. That's another. That's the other R I was thinking of. But it looks like the other ones are more, I guess, lurkers, which is okay. All right. So now we put that back into position. That into that position. All right. Now it looks like these are going to be too low now, which is okay because it's a hell of a lot easier re-raising them than trying to try to go down. Okay, so We'll do that. It's over there. And we'll scribble on this one. All right. Well, it looks like, according to YouTube, we lost one. Thing is there are times that I don't really trust YouTube's saying of, hey, there's that many people watching, because there's times that, they said one is watching, but yet the chat is very much going. Variety is always good. Yes, Harry. It's a combination of having variety yet consistency. Because if you have too much variety, it winds up having the same effect of having not enough variety. Speaking of variety, it's like, I've changed my schedule at least 4 times since I've done this. For different various reasons. Last change was because there were some things I wanted to do on Friday night, which doing the live stream sort of got in the way of doing that. So I said, I'll just go to Sunday. And now there has been a couple of things that popped up on Sunday that I want to do that now that the pandemic is over. Things are here around Arlington, Vermont is opening up. There we go. All right. That is done. So now, all right, we need to chip away at some stuff here. Where am I chipping away? Interesting. When I took this apart, the bridge fits. Now that I've taken it apart and tried to get it to be flat and all that, it no longer fits. Because the way it's supposed to is that these ends are supposed to be on top of these. But as you can see now, they are not going to fit. Huh. Even if they're pushed back to where they were supposed to be, because they're not, as you can see, they're not up against these boards. Something has changed to the point where it's not working properly. What to do? All right. This is a bit of a quandary. As it looks like, instead of being on the posts where they're supposed to be, it looks like they're going to be on the backboard. Then again, this is not going to be on a permanent display or anything like that. This is just practice, so we'll just chalk this up as sometimes when you're trying to fix something, it's better that you leave it alone. This might be one of those details. All right, let's move that rock out of the way. Here we are. That rock out of the way. Move that rock out of the way. This rock's out of the way. Now, take this and I think this needs more of a knife than a or chisel knife. All right. Another thing is trying not to hit the camera. All right, let's see what's over here. Box of, or cup of all right. This is going to severely dull this blade. You got to remember where I left my where I have left my chisel blades. So I have not been able to find them lately. Found all the number 11 blades, all I want. Chisel blades, on the other hand, not so much. All right, what's up there? That line's up there. All right, that line's up there. Now, okay. Now, where did I put? Where did I put? That's something I probably have to do off cameras. Actually look for where I put the ties. So I've taken all the ties off of the original, which as you can see here, it's a little bit short. And I had thought I had put them aside. Oh, put them aside the same thing as in here. All right. Well, I am definitely going to need new ties also. But theoretically, these are supposed to be the same height as that. That's both are low. This side's much lower than the other. This is only about maybe a piece of paper thicker. This is definitely more than a piece of paper. I need to find my 3x5 cards, because that's how I shinned them the last time, was 3x5 cards. And of course, are they within reach? No. Or they're in reach and I don't know about it. All right. So well, hello there, Mystic. Thank you for coming in. You missed it. We were talking about you earlier. Weren't we, Harry? Also, I would have to say, Mystic, can you guess who Harry is? Because he has changed his name and logo. I would have to say I completely did not catch what, did not put two and two together. So his, I'm leaning towards that his name change does not lead that close to what his original name was. But that's my opinion. You might actually catch it before, maybe you catched it before I did. But like you, I think Harry has been on my live stream many a times. I mean, there are people that I'm surprised that they are not here. But then again, it is summer, or almost summer. The summer solstice is, I believe, this week. So this is going to be probably the time that I'm going to. Yeah, I had no clue, and his new logo doesn't help either. Especially since his last name actually had something that's not exactly with model trains, but he's now come to the, don't know why I say dark side, but definitely the different mode of transportation side. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to, over the week, look for the appropriate the appropriate 3x5 cards so I can shin these so they can be, the rails can go straight across. Also, probably also make some more ties. Go over the old ties and get rid of all the stuff that's on them. Actually, since most of the stuff I want to say is Elmer PVA glue, maybe just having them in water for a little bit might knock a bunch of them off. Except for the stuff that's super glued on, because I think I did super glue some parts just to keep everything engaged, and then put ballast and PVA glue on top of it. So that will get rid of most of it, but not all. All right. Yeah, when I was more concentrated on this, I had, all right, let's, how do we mark this? We'll go left. Left bank. And we'll on this one, the right bank. So, and one thing I wound up doing though, sort of off camera from last week, is completing the small little delivery cart from Jordan Products. As I said earlier, I didn't like on how they had the springs set up. As you can see, the springs are still not square to each other. But the springs come in as the instructions, they come completely flat, and then you have to like add 90-degree bends where the springs meet. And unfortunately, that makes it so, yes, you can bend it at 90 degrees, but then it wants to spring back. And I had a hard time getting them sprung so they stayed at a 90-degree angle. So if I was to do one of these again, I would actually hopefully remember to clip the springs at their junction and then remount them at and glue them at 90 degrees so they stay at 90 degrees. Also, another thing that I've tried to, well, it's an experiment which has not gone too far yet. Came across this at the local, I think it's Dollar General, I think. But apparently this is chalkboard craft paint. Normally you see it in black or green. They had a whole bunch of blue. And my thought was maybe paint the backdrop this color, and then use regular white chalk as clouds. But I'm not quite sure how well this is going to be as a paint. I did have did wind up buying these little I guess miniature frames or something like that, and I painted it. This was white. It is painted now. It's chalkboard color, and it's like, it's a little too deep for a sky color, but at the same time, it's like it'd be interesting to have it so if I needed to, I could change the clouds. Maybe even have it set up where clean the clouds every time I bring it out on an op session or whatever and all that, and redraw the clouds and all that, and then you can sort of possibly catch up to whatever, which pictures came from. But it's sort of a cute idea. Not sure how well it's going to work. I have bought chalk and have promptly misplaced said chalk, which is annoying. But one of the things of maybe what I should do is actually turn around and start cleaning up stuff or reorganizing and all that. I've never been I've been more organized at work than at home. And because normally at workplaces, they sort of do a, hey, this is supposed to be like 5S or something like that, where everyone's supposed to be the same. And so we get home, it's like, I'm going to do it my way. And then having to realize that work is nicer because things are a little bit more, there's a spot for things and things for spots. And so it's a lot easier to find stuff. For instance, right now, the chalk. And one thing I said, I try to use this to keep track of the time. And unfortunately, sometimes it's underneath the table, which makes it not so convenient to actually keep track of time if it's underneath. But today I was smart enough to actually have it on top of the table so we can actually keep track of time. Harry let everyone know what he's at. But yeah, it says fiber watching. Yeah, Mystic, same here. Trying to find something that, like right now, I have like 90% of all the locomotives in one spot. I do have a one of these things where you have all the small little drawers and all that, so you can keep everything together. So successful in that. So if I'm looking for couplers, I know which bin to look at. I haven't labeled them yet. Probably should, because then I'll be able to actually find stuff a lot quicker. These are all my 7-Eleven couplers. When I first heard about these couplers, it was on a it was an RPM model before RPM became a thing, with the railroad prototype modelers. With somebody that had they actually had, it was a gondola that actually had folding double hinged folding ends, and even with working brakes and HO scale. He had a small little chains and all that. And apparently he was actually, had he known about it, there was some needles that actually had the right outside diameter where you can actually have it hooked up so it had working air brakes. But he didn't know it at the time, so he used a solid core and didn't make it so that the air system worked. But had he known that, he would have redesigned it so it could actually have working air brakes in HO scale, which my thought was, that's just a little bit too far for me. I look at it this way, is that models are, I had a season or a phase of trying to do everything great, rivet counting right down to the spot. And at the time I was doing Delaware Hudson during the transition era between steam and diesel. And I did an RS3, it was model die casting, if I remember correctly. And I did everything right. I added all the details. And the thing is, that include the lift rings on the hood. And the thing is that the paint scheme during that time for diesels was black with yellow stripes on the end. And after painting the cab and all that, it's like the appropriate or the body, the appropriate color and all that. You couldn't see the details. The details just disappeared, even with weathering. So it was after that I'm like, all right, I'm not doing details that you can't see. So that's sort of, now I'm trying to say, does it look good from an arm's length away? Instead of, having a microscope right up against it. And that's made things a little bit easier. I mean, everyone has their own preferences, which is okay, but I have come to the conclusion that I'm going to do it my way. And like with this one, I mean, it's like, it's not perfect, but at the same time, if this is close to the backdrop and all that, no one might not notice that the wheels are not perfectly straight up and down. If I put it on a road that's quote unquote rough, it'll be, oh, the suspension is working properly. And that's, I think, what the masters of any type of art, I think, goes along that direction of, okay, they know it's a mistake, but the thing is, it looks so good and all that, unless they're told that it's a mistake, no one's going to notice. And I think that's the way I'm aiming for. I mean, the first locomotive I'm planning on regaging to 6 foot is this. It's a lifelike teapot. There's a lot of things that are wrong with this. I don't even know if they had a prototype like this. But things like it's a switcher engine, but yet it has a cow catcher on it, which I do not believe they had on there. The smokestack is not aligned with the cylinders. This is too far in. This is all wonky and all that. This actually came with a different locomotive, the locomotive I wanted, but this came as a set. I'm like, all right, whatever. Not very well. Not very nice look. It's more of a toy than a model. So using this as an experiment to make it 6 foot gauge, and if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. I'm not really that. Oh, excuse me. I would not be that disappointed with it. But the first thing I'm planning on doing is regaging it first to see if it can be done. And then after that, then fix all the other issues that it has. Like moving the smokestack, new steam and sand domes, redo the front pilot so it's actually can be used as a switcher with something in the front. Taking off the coal and replacing it with wood. Same thing with the cab part. I mean, that cab is huge, and that's because the motor in it's huge. But basically, take out this section here and moving it closer to here, make it a wooden cab. It's one of those things of once I'm able to get it regauged properly, then turn around and fix all the other issues that this thing would have to make it more of a plausible steam engine. But it's one of those things of the gear train on it is I want to say very Lionel-like. It actually has these are actually geared together, which one of the gears has failed, so it's only one now. The front, as you can see, the front does not it's not geared anymore. But since the side rods are designed for them to be geared, going to have to make new side rods so it can be run that direction. Maybe possibly get new gears on it, but it's one of those things I want to make sure that it can be re-gauged first, then do then go on all that. One of the thing is that oh, did not realize that the camera had moved. All right. But yeah, I use this, even calling it the experiment. So that's what the plan is. The interesting thing is that this is it seems to be an OO gauge locomotive, not HO scale. So it can run on HO scale track, but it's a different scale. Hence why it looks, if you look at it, it sort of kind of looks like a narrow gauge engine, because in OO, HO scale track is narrow gauge. But it looks like the cylinders are actually spaced far enough apart for 6 foot gauge. So that's another reason why I'm using this as an experiment. And it seems that a lot of OO scale locomotives have the right spacing on the cylinders. So that is that. Well, it looks like it's time to switch over cameras. That's the thing is that it's like, I need to actually, turn around, and it's like, we got 10 more minutes. So we got to blather on for that much. And then it's like, wait a minute, we over blathered. Okay. So now switch cameras again. Back to the laptops. So here I am. That's one thing that's sort of does the locomotive run? Yes, it actually does run. As I said, it's missing both axles are geared. So the thing is that with the missing gear, it does bind up. But if I wound up getting I think you could see that it could that the side rods actually had elongated holes in them. My assumption is if I wound up remaking them but having them with holes instead of slots, it probably will not bind as much. So that's one of the things I'm going to see about redoing is new side rods for it, at least just to get after regaging. It's one of those things of everything. Once I figure out how to regauge it, I do have the appropriate axle size for it. It's a 1/8 axle, so I was able to get 1/8 rod from the local hardware store. I just got to figure out exactly, all right, how far do I need to spread it out? Then also have to redesign where the pickups are, because the pickups are right next to the frame, and I would have to spread that out a little bit so they would still be able to pick up. It's not a great runner, but as it's one of those things, it's the experiment. So it's one of those things of getting it to work, and then pretty much from there, just keep on poking and prodding on it to make it hopefully a nice runner. I'm actually thinking of maybe instead of having that as a switcher, go with a redesigned Bockler or Bauer or Arcade Bockler. But this would be more of a, once I got that one done, it's like, all right, well, let's try redo this, and then have that as the working switcher, basically. And then also do the same thing with the other piece of equipment that I have. But it's one of those things that it's going to be a slow process. And I have already built a test track, 6 foot gauge test track, right next to it, just a piece of regular flex track. So I do have a place to test it. Another thing, I bought two sets of these. These are the rollers for testing. These are ball bearings, and then your train can run across these and all that. So they're for testing the locomotive gears and the stuff like that. And the thing is, the way this is set up, you notice that there's screws. So I can basically take this black piece, if I can turn around and make a piece the same thickness but wider, so it's so it'll be gauged instead of gauge to standard gauge, but make a wider piece so it can actually be gauged to 6 foot gauge. I can then also test the train that way. And again, I had to figure out what the appropriate measurements are supposed to be. Well, it is now 7:48. I'm blanking on who's on tonight. Who is on? All right. I think I want to say tonight is Ray. Is Ray on tonight? Let's see. Da-da-da-da. Well, according to YouTube, Jack, of course, is live. Looks like Boxcar Jerry is live. All right. Let's see. False Bailey, that was last week, wasn't it? Oh, that's you want live. Yeah, that was last week. False Bailey. That's one thing, is when you start subscribing to a whole bunch of people, it gets harder to find people. Yes, Sidetrack Saturday is Ray Bobel. So, why, thank you, Harry. Well, hello there, Wigwag and Steve 87. Looks like unfortunately you guys wound up wandering in when I'm getting ready to close to go over to Ray Bobel's Sidetrack Sunday. But thank you for coming in. Let's see. Interesting. Seems that I have two different chats going on here. Oh, wait a second. This one's set up for top chat, not live chat. So hence the reason why it's that way. All right. Well, oh, and hello, Artie. Thank you for dropping in. High chance of fireworks and blackouts. That's probably going to be next week for around here because Independence Day. Well, I would have to say I'll see probably people over at Ray's channel at Sidetrack Sunday. And all right. And happy solstice, depending on where you're at, being winter or summer. Equinox is like, well, equinox. But thanks for everyone for coming. Even the ones, the late stragglers also. Because I was wondering where some of you are. You know, it's like, wait a minute, they're usually here. So nice to know that nothing is wrong. Oh, interesting. It seems that Nissy and John from Skyco River also wandered in, and Grandpa Rails. Huh. Alrighty then. That was sort of an odd setup. Oh, and Ray was also here. Huh. Something went wrong somewhere because, yeah, it looked like a lot of people were on here that my live chat was not showing. Either on... Oh, duh. I'm looking at Ray's live chat. Never mind. All right, everybody. I guess it's time to wander off. Here I am thinking, going like, hey, there's where they're all at. And it's like, they're not here. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for coming. I think the world needs more love. So find your passion, add some silliness to it, and spread it around. Good evening, everyone.